I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Today is August 6th, 2024. The board minutes for July 30th, 2024.
I'll move to accept the minutes.
Who second it?
Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried and passed. So the next agenda item is correspondence. And the first one is an email that I received, and I had Billy put it in the correspondence, and it is from Jean Starr, and she is with Star Counseling and Addiction Services. And she has heard that commissioners have delegated 100% of the alcohol tax to Zenith View. And she's stating that she was receiving the funds and provides the ACT program for the state of Montana for anyone with a DUI. The state does not delegate Zenith View to provide these services. As you can see by the state provider list, and this was attached to the email, and it is probably 25 pages long. It is. They are not allowed to provide the ACT. I would ask that the commissioners consider a 50-50 split in the designation of the alcohol tax money.
There's something we'll have to put on the agenda then talk about, or to make a decision, we'll have to make a motion if we did split it. My opinion, leave it as it is.
So Billy, would you put that on a future? Probably, yeah, and then we'll. Because we designate it to a local. The next. Correspondence is Granite County Justice Court and end period disbursement detail. And for the month of July, 6,068. Brought into. Go on to the state. Okay, that is it on correspondence. I think last year's was. Hey, the next agenda item is public comment on matters within the commissioner's jurisdiction. Is there any public comment?
Oh, Vlad has a comment.
Go ahead, Glad.
Hello?
There we go.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, good morning. This is Vladimir Babbage. I'm calling in regards to make a comment regarding to the crosswalk that was put in over here at Georgetown Lake Road. I'm not sure if this is the place to do it or not, so I thought I'd better ask first.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, first of all, we want to thank you guys for putting Paul and his crew for putting the crosswalk in. But unfortunately, the crosswalk was put in, and the day that they put the crosswalk in, the guy that was painting it, he told our neighbor Melissa DeHood he just about got hit 5 times. So as part of that, when the commissioners voted on putting the crosswalk in, I did tons of research last year for the speed signs that were supposed to accommodate the crosswalks in the same area. And I've called Sheriff Dunkerson several times because of the traffic through here. The crosswalk has not deterred anybody. So just kind of want to follow up. I know I talked to Paul. They were saying that at one time that they had troubles when they were trying to do the one call when the cones were put in or whatever, somebody stole the cones. But as part of the neighborhood, we just want to put the commission on notice that the signs were approved, or the speed signs were approved to be put in on this patch of the highway or road. And we were gonna work with Scott Dunkerson. We have filed complaints with these people speeding where they could get the information off of them signs, how fast they were speeding, so they could patrol accordingly. But right now the crosswalk signs are not doing any good. Well, I shouldn't say not doing any good, but they sure ain't deterring probably a high percentage of the traffic. So just trying to find the status of if there's a possibility to get them back in, or if the liability is just going to go to the commissioners in the county, since they approved that they would put the signs on, the speed signs on that would record the speeds and show the vehicles how fast they were going.
I think one reason they haven't got up there because they kept stealing everything, and so then we were just gonna put up the signs for now and just see how, if that they last. But why would we waste the money if they're just gonna keep stealing? And it was more than one cone.
Well, these were the cones, but these are the signs you guys paid over 10 grand for that are sitting probably someplace in the shop that I did tons of research on, you guys bought last year. So I guess it's up to the commission if they don't want to do it. I just want we as the neighborhood want to put the commission on notice, that it was voted on and approved to install them.
So how long do you think those signs would last?
They're not signs. They're not signs. These things are just like
Electronic things. How long do you think they'd last when people find out they're recording how fast they're going?
Got them all over the county. They got them over by, I don't know if it's in your county. They have the ones over by the old Seven Gables. They've been there years. They're cemented in. They're not going to be, however they're installed, they're probably not going to steal them.
Okay, so right now, my question is, right now we have the crosswalks in. And we don't have anything up that they can steal, right?
Well, that's why we put the signs up, because we.
Do we have signs up there now?
Yes, we was gonna do that first, just to see if this is
The
gonna last.
crosswalks are
Just a
there.
second, please, sir, just a second. Go ahead, Scott.
But the whole deal, we made the motion and that we put the signs up just to see if this is gonna last. And the whole deal was, it was what we said a couple weeks or something, and we were talking
Okay.
about putting up the.
Okay. So now the signs are up there and they're in place and they seem to be staying in place and nobody seems to be bothering them. Is that correct?
That's correct. The signs have been there, but in the original, when you passed them, they were going to try to have the speed recording signs put up this past Memorial Day. So, I mean, the signs have been up there. You can check with the guy even on that installed the sign. He went to my neighbor, Melissa the Hood. She was out there the day he was painting signs and said he just about got hit 5 times. So I know at one time they talked about putting the speed signs farther down, like at the county line or whatever, but that was not the original intent where they were supposed to be. Where the motion was passed that put the signs was right by the crosswalk signs.
Right, but we decided to move them to the back where I put the posts in, so that they would justify all the other houses too, rather than just a small group of houses. They could
Well,
take that stretch of houses.
That wasn't the motion that was passed. And like I say, these ain't doing there. We did tons of research to that so we could basically, this is where the concentration of the houses are, where we showed the 125 houses just in this little patch and right where the boat dock was. I mean, where that kind of them boat docks are.
But what about all the other houses then? They just don't need anything?
Well, you got houses all around the lake, but you don't have that concentration of, this was you guys were going to try this, Paul, in this area to see how it worked when we had these meetings all last year to see how that worked there, because there is a way that they can record when that speed's recorded. The sheriffs, or I even volunteered to get them the download so they can patrol accordingly if they see a higher percentage of speed through that area.
Okay, Vlad, so I think possibly we need to probably check that motion and to see where we said we were gonna put those signs.
Well, nobody's gonna be happy with wherever we. put
I know.
it. This just keeps rolling on and on. Everybody wants more and more.
Well, we can't
and more.
keep stating that either. I mean, it's just.
I know, but this is kind of the best spot to set them up back there and try to get everybody involved, and that's where we're at. We'll soon just leave and get the solar panel ones up there and we'll call it good.
And if they don't work,
So you have the signs up now, Paul, right?
Have crosswalk signs up now.
You don't have the electronic signs up.
No, and we decided in here to move them back right on the county line. And then on the opposite side, we put it right where the houses started coming in. That's what we had discussed in here to do. So we have posts to put them in there.
But they're not up yet.
No, we decided not to put them up until we see if these other ones got shot. Remember, they kept stealing all our cones. We couldn't
Okay,
even get
right,
them located.
right. And this has been, how many weeks ago?
It's been a month at least.
At least, so I
But
think.
the proposed area where they want to put them is not close to the crosswalk.
Can
It's a
you,
mile and a half away.
Vlad, you're gonna have to wait until we're through discussing before you jump in, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So they're not up.
They're not
And
on.
we were watching to see about the signs, and the signs are still in place.
Okay.
So I think the commission needs to honor where they said they'd put them up. So we need to put them up, right? Are you guys in agreement? Because we did say we would, we bought
Oh,
them,
yeah, we said it was gonna, we'll just wait to see how.
and we waited a month.
Right.
So,
yeah, we can go ahead and put them up.
Yeah.
We had so much vandalism up there
Yeah.
with the other Lakeshore Drive, all those speed bumps and everything, and then the cones. And we wanted to wait and see what was gonna happen to these other signs before we committed our $10,000 worth of
okay, so Vlad,
electronic signs.
okay, so Vlad, the reason was because of vandalism, and it's been a month. And so we're gonna readdress those, and Paul, where we're gonna put them?
We have posts in there on each side, and the signs would be about a mile apart.
So those signs are gonna be putting up, we'll check those to make sure that. The range is in an area that's serving the majority of the county.
Exactly. I agree with
Okay.
that.
And that wasn't the original intent. The original intent was the signs would be placed by the crosswalk signs so people would be knowing what the speed was as they're going through the crosswalk, not a mile on each side of that crosswalk.
Well, it seems to me this would be better because we can cover all the houses and then we'll still have the crosswalk sign. So they have the sign prior to that and then the crosswalk signs. If they don't get that, they ain't gonna get it.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree with you too,
Yeah.
Chuck.
So. We may have discussed, put them up, we further decided that they're not up yet. And we decided to put them where the posts are, which is a mile. So that's what, I don't know, we didn't make a motion on that. He's saying we made a motion that we were gonna put those electronic signs right by the crosswalks.
We had that motion. That's
But-
where that,
I think we probably did, but we discovered more.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it
not
was-
just all
more
about just
situation.
that, it's about that whole chunk in there.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what we
It's-
started
yeah.
talking about, and I
So
like the motion.
legally, Blaine, do we have to make another motion?
I would look in your minutes and see that if you
Okay.
had already changed it in your minutes, if not, you could,
Okay.
get it on again.
Okay,
Get on the
so
agenda.
we're gonna check where our motion is. We have since decided that we're moving them. And so now we've since decided that we're going to put them up because we waited a month. And the signs, the crosswalk signs haven't been torn down, so we will chance taking these equipment out there.
Yeah.
Okay, does that answer your question, Blaine?
yeah. Now, Paul, if I recall correctly, there's crosswalk signs, but it's just like the signs right now. You got at the county line. It says 25 miles an hour way back there. It does show the crosswalk coming up. There's no speed limit signs on the crosswalk signs either.
Right.
Well, we can't put speed limit signs up, right?
Yeah, George, you're talking about Georgetown Lake Road, yes.
We're
Yeah.
on Georgetown. Yeah, we're on Georgetown. This is the whole
Yeah.
reason you guys did this was because of the stuff over on Lakeshore you couldn't do because it was Forest Service. So the commission agreed to put it over here to try this to see how it worked in this area. And I think Sheriff Dunkerson was there at one of the meetings. I know he can't do anything as far as, you know, like where the signs go, because we have complaints filed with him, and they do call when we patrol. You know, when they're on patrol or they get a call, they'll send somebody over here. But the thought was that's where the concentration was. I know Chuck Stokey sent in a letter as well, showing the concentration pretty much from Edwards Track to east of where the crosswalk was put in. Like you say, we understand there's people all over the lake, but this is a high concentration of over 125 houses on this short area that are accessing the lake.
And we're trying to cover them,
Then
moving the signs out.
all the better to have those radar signs further out to get people better notice.
Exactly.
They're not, I
That's what-
disagree, because they're not, you got a sign there right now and they ain't following it. If they come through the crosswalk, they're gonna slow down. People slow down when they see them signs. If they see them at the county line or way up where they're proposed, by the time they pass through that, they got a mile plus to increase their speed again, and they're gonna be speeding through the crosswalk.
Yeah, but- Think it's- We'll go back through the motion like Len said and look and see, and then we'll,
Okay, well, we're gonna check on our motion. And we'll be discussing putting the electronic signs up. So we have another comment here. Elena, go ahead.
Thank you. Elena Gagliano for the record. I'm sorry, I had a call before. It wasn't good information. I'm sorry, personal information. But anyway, point of clarification, this is the public comment period. And Val has a concern about something. And apparently there's a disagreement. There's not supposed to be any discussion because again, it's public comment period. So my suggestion is, now that you know he has a concern and you have to do some more research, then put it on the agenda for further discussion. And then he will be there and anybody else. As I have property up there too, there will be a discussion on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena.
You're
Right.
welcome.
The,
I'm just acting like you're acting.
The-
My tone of voice is matching yours.
That's, you can have a discussion, that's what public comments
Yeah.
for. You didn't make a decision, you said you'd get it on, you said it'd be on the
Yeah.
agenda, Commissioner Adler, I said that, I think. Commissioner McClure said that, so we
I
already said that.
absolutely agree that if we're having a discussion with someone, we're entitled to have a discussion because he was asking questions. Are we not supposed to answer them?
So. I can tell you like the Drummond schools attorney, that school attorney says. Encourages the board not to respond back, but that to me is rude. I mean, you can have a discussion. Once you realize it's a significant public interest, you can say, we're gonna get it on the agenda, just like you did.
Exactly what we did. I don't
Yeah.
understand why she
There's
has
motions.
going on, how to do it.
Okay, we have one more comment. Go ahead, Elena.
Okay, let's just have a point of clarification again. I happen to be the public, okay? And again, you work for us, the taxpayer. I can be rude as long as I'm not cursing or anything like that. I can be unhappy or anything, just like the three of you. No, you're not supposed to. You're the elected officials. We elected you. All right. Now, again, Blanche, you're the only one, Blanche, you're the only one that even had training from Mako on how to conduct a meeting. The other two haven't. All right, now I'm going to leave you with this, and the county attorney came on. Nobody introduces themselves. And I'll just leave you with this. You had a discussion. You decided you were going to do this, but the way you left it was that you weren't going to put it on the agenda. That was a statement that I was waiting for. We will put it on the agenda, Vad, and we will have a further discussion. You did not say that. I waited to see, and you didn't. Okay? Thank you.
I thought you
Well, I
did.
guess we'll
Yeah.
listen to the recording, Blaine.
But definitely was brought up
Yeah, it
either
was.
by one or both of you and you agreed, so.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
because she didn't listen is not your problem.
So we said we checked the motion and then we would go and I questioned you and I said, okay, would we make another motion? So then it would have to be on the agenda to make another motion. So Billy, can you put this on the agenda?
Yes.
Please.
I also
Go
have
ahead,
more
Mark.
information. Billy did just print the minutes and the motion was for the sign, Vlad was correct, it was to be, the motion was to have it, the radar signs next to crosswalk, so if you'd like to amend that, having it on the agenda is.
Okay. Thank you, Blaine.
Well,
Go ahead, Elena. Oh, she's clapping her hands, excuse me. Never mind.
That's it.
I like it that the public can be rude, that because they're upset.
unless. People can be upset, but they don't have a right to be rude, they can be.
Condescending.
Yeah.
Derogatory. All that other stuff.
I'll say one thing on that note. We talked about that in here and discussed it about where we were gonna put those posts. And we did decide to move them and we decided where we were gonna put them and we were in a meeting when we did it. And we had McDonald come up and pound them in. I mean, that's.
And probably what we didn't do is research to see what the motion actually said. So we have now, and we'll put it on the agenda to amend that motion and move them where you have researched and decided to be the best place to put them. Okay, so let's move on to weekly report with Road and Bridge Superintendent Paul.
We're on Magan down by Rock Creek. And we're still out working on Willow Creek Road.
Well, good. Really good.
It's coming along, so we're just. Now we're starting up at the bottom, kind of by the bottom half of the hill there. And then we're just working our way in the spots until we get in to Lucci's. It just takes time and that's just the way it is.
Sure, you're getting the gravel from here then.
Yeah.
So you're still working on Willow Creek, right?
And we got some guy over trying to get the driver's license issued today. Hopefully that gets settled.
They wouldn't let him drive because it was missing a sticker once.
No, the backlight, like, yeah, and then he wanted more reflective tape on the truck.
It's nothing to do with our drivers, it's now we're picking on the county trucks.
Now, how do we go?
The person
DMV.
that rides with them to take the driving test. They walked all around their yard, their DOT yard. And they only had 3 trucks out of several that had places in the back. He said, oh, that's weird. At any rate, they're back over there. And so hopefully today that gets resolved.
It's like an act of God just did, that's why you can't find no other CDLs, nobody can get through it. It's just a joke, the way they set everything up, they nitpick every damn thing.
We can't send them to one of the newer trucks. Because they got automatics in them.
And he needs to
And-
do,
If you test in an automatic, then you can only drive an automatic. But if you test in a manual, you can drive anything.
wow.
So
It's
So
not,
does it
not
cost,
the crew's fault, this is just
Yeah.
now, it's a step
does it
up.
cost every time? They
they're
go
just,
in,
their time.
oh, their time, yeah, yeah,
No, at least it's not.
But it just takes it out of, and then sooner or later they just get to the point, well, hell with this, why do I do it?
well,
Yeah.
more practice, I guess.
And then, my pickup's back in the shop. So we need to figure out what we wanna do with that, If minimum right now is gonna be 5, could be 7, 8,000 to fix it, don't know yet.
What's wrong with it?
Oil coolers went out of it, and so it's got engine oil into the water side of the motor.
That's good.
How many miles?
Little over 200.
I guess what we're saying, do we wanna put more and more money into it, or do we wanna try?
And what one is the water truck?
No,
No, my pickup.
Your pickup,
that half ton.
quit driving it so much.
Deal. Yeah, I'll go with that.
It's something that we need to put on the agenda and really look into and see. I don't see putting another $10,000-12,000 into a pickup, it just keeps getting. That's just me, but we should put it on the agenda.
Yes. Is that really?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, because they're filled. So. I guess we can move to the snow plowing.
Oh, right,
Um,
yeah, let's do that.
I mean, if there's nothing else. For me.
So you did your research.
Yeah, and I couldn't find his house because he doesn't, apparently it's not in. His name's not on it, so anyway, that was him and I just met him up there and got the deal. So where he's supposed to live, as soon as you cross that road, then it's all signed up, private drive. And, so anyway. I'm gonna look at it, if we can put that back on the agenda for next week,
Okay,
and I'm gonna go take a look at it, and he's actually off Tower Road going up into White Sands. Not Algonquin Road, which is a different road.
okay,
So it's a private road?
No, he just wasn't sure what road he lived on. I mean, it's Algonquin, when you come from the other side. But Tower Road is where Wild Meat lives, and he's coming off Tower Road, not off.
So we're already plowing Tower.
We plow Tower Road up to Wild Meats. So his driveway would be off a tower and then hard right back toward White Sands. Where the old mine was burnt down up there.
So, but we don't wanna do his road.
No, that road is county though.
Seems to me like.
It's 30 feet
So just let's clarify, Wild Meat is Dave Harris.
Okay. Is that his name?
You already do some of Tower, right, correct?
We do tower.
Okay,
Up to date.
yeah, okay.
What I call him before.
That's a very local nickname, and there's a lot of people that wouldn't know who Wild Meat
Yeah.
is. So.
So anyway, that's that. And I emailed Billy some stuff this morning.
Oh, they got it all filled out.
Okay, and then this is the other part of that.
I'll
The-
fill out the other portions and copy you on it, but I got their signatures on.
Okay, and then I need the
records.
original stuff to take back to them.
Oh,
They can't be emailed.
let me just give you this packet and you fill it out.
You haven't got the grader
We're using them.
yet?
Oh, they're giving that to me.
Unless you want me to fill it out and give it back to you later.
What is this?
This is all the paperwork they sent over. I got their signatures on where we need
Well, I
to.
certainly don't fill out. I just meant when it was done.
When it's all-
They just can't take an email copy.
Okay, that's fine. I'll get it. I'll get it done for you today.
Hey, that it?
That's it.
Hey. Thanks, Paul.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, now Kendra's report. It is at 428.83, 8.04 inches below full slope. Question. Stay at 30. Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. We've got a few minutes before our 9:45. Agenda item.
Maybe next week, Billy, we can get something from, the guy to give reports, you mixed in.
Todd Blythe?
Yeah. Please.
Go ahead, Elena.
Sorry for the interruption. I just want to alert you that this sound keeps going on and off. So I don't know, something mechanical, because it keeps fading in and out. So we're missing a lot of the conversation. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
Thank
I
you.
wonder if others have that too. Wonder if it could just be Elena's.
Don't know. So,
Amelia's on.
because yeah, she just emailed me and I muted it and then unmuted it and now I see it active again. Let me unplug this and then. And then that's on. I don't know, hopefully that fixes it.
We'll put this with this cat.
Amelia just said it sounds fine to her. She's not having any issues.
Say that again.
Amelia Wood just emailed me and said she can hear fine and isn't having any issues.
She can hear
Oh,
fine.
Yeah,
So we just got an email from Amelia and she says that it's not fading in and out for her. Go ahead, Elena. Well, it's for me, what's your call?
Okay, thank you for doing that. Thanks, Amelia, for verifying it. It may be on our end because Blackfoot is doing work up here. So it could be on my end. I'll just listen to the Zoom on YouTube. Thank you.
You're welcome. Could have faded out when we said that we put it on the agenda to amend the motion. Me? Hey, we're gonna, for this one, we'll wait till the actual 9:45. So we have 5 minutes before our next agenda item. If anybody has any public comment? Who's that now?
Oh, Amelia corrected. No, she can't hear fine. Her email.
Not easy.
Let me try to.
Yes.
As long as we're doing that Georgetown Lake thing, I called the representative on. Cause they want us to do more stuff on the dam and told us what to do and then not to do it that way. I mean, it won't quit. I know we have a. FERC call at 11 o'clock, but we're still on the dam thing, but I did call and talk to the Danes representative and try to figure out, they just keep wanting more and more. And now it's, we're just gonna take a power washer and get rid of that stuff. Now I said, now I don't recommend it, might knock some of that cement off. Well, where the hell does this quit? I mean, we're trying to follow through and fix stuff, but then all of a sudden, they're right around again and say, don't do
Did
this.
I read something about the weeds too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And weed guy sprayed up there. Well, there's like 4 little saplings.
That are
I guess we'll
underwater.
have to go up and pull.
Yeah,
No,
they're
these are the ones out on the face of the dam. When we walk by and he's pointing at them, there's like there's
Oh, I
a
thought you
little
meant the ones that were right there that are
on top of the dam
We have
and
those too.
in the water.
face, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there was stuff on
The
the
one in, remember the
I didn't
ones?
hear that.
clear out the.
Out on the face of the dam, there's like 4 saplings. We just have to pull them out. I mean, it just don't quit.
Well, cause they can't find anything else wrong, so they're gonna nitpick and get the, well, so we'll get the weeds.
Another thing I thought of, that blue stripe on the face of the dam. It's gotta be redone this year or
Yeah.
it's not gonna be
For our warranty.
under warranty.
They talked about that at our annual inspection, that's on the list with cleaning out that stuff. We're gonna have to get someone in a boat out there to do it, I guess.
So we're gonna have to hire somebody with a boat to go.
I don't know.
Do we still have that stuff?
We do, yeah. Brandon Parrott put it, it's either in the weed shop or the road shop up there. I thought it was the weed shop where he put it.
I guess we better find it, because we have to order more. We'll put this gonna be on the damn thing next week. We're talking more on that, and then after you hear the order is really called, I'm sure there'll be more. So I just wanted to tell you though, I did talk to them. And they're supposedly gonna, the guy was supposed to call me yesterday and he hasn't yet. And
So is this you're talking?
Danes is representative. Just gotta figure something, we gotta move. They're just killing us. We can't keep taking and paying and we don't have
And the discussion that we're having right at this moment is still under the dam tenders report, Georgetown Lake outflow. This is discussion with FERC requirements, new FERC requirements.
Correct. I thought I would bring it up.
We have kind of a time. We have 9:40 on the computer and we have almost 9:45 on our clock, so it's running a little bit fast. Check that. If anybody else jumps in, we'll start into our 9:45 agenda item. Yeah, I think we're close enough. Anybody joining in on Zoom, shouldn't miss anything, the potential fire restrictions in Granite County discussion and decision.
Well, I don't think we should be on level 2. Well, put off this discussion there. I see, I think Missoula County or somebody over there went from extreme to high yesterday. You know, I don't know. I mean, for these exemptions, I think we should have Blackfoot and Northwestern. If we're gonna talk one, we're gonna have to talk both of them. And my only concern with that, they say they have fire equipment, but does anybody inspect that fire equipment? Does everybody know how to run that fire equipment? But anyway, I'm probably for the exemptions if we stay at level 2. But we'll talk about it.
I'm still for sticking at number stage 2, just because we got another hot week coming up, and we had a couple of fires out this way, out Scalpel, and 200 acre. And my opinion, you start getting exemptions, why do we set the rules? I mean, I know they're trying to do stuff, but it's still, everybody should be just as equal as everybody else. I mean, you start saying, okay, this guy can do this, but this guy can't, when does it stop? We're gonna just, why do we even have rules?
Where was it? Scalpel one.
It was out in Johnson's Fork, it's up on top there, and just, like, I'll show you the map. It was 200, it's on, kind of on the Hamilton side, they call it, they're calling it about skeleton, 200 acres right there. And then there was a couple.
Yeah, that's over bitter.
But it's still, well, it can burn this way, Chuck, I mean, it's still dry. Just because you didn't have a lightning strike up there at your house, I know what you're saying, but I mean, this could happen anywhere. I just think it's dry enough, it could still blow up.
But the Beaverhead Deer Lodge, they're not on 2.
Even heard their lodge. You know, it's just my thought, it's just what I'm saying, I can be going down, whatever. It's just the way I feel. You know, you go down that end of the valley, it's bad. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's up here than down there.
It's kind of hard to split from Mansfield this way, go north to south, you start splitting the counties up, kind of, you know, it just, you can't do it. I guess you can, but I'm not for it. That's just my opinion. I understand people are trying to make a living, you know, but so everybody.
So Jackie, I'm gonna ask you if you can give some input on what's transpired over the last week and what your feelings are, being our disaster and emergency person, on what stage the county should be at, if you would be so kind.
Good morning. So in my messages from yesterday on, with the DNRC, most everybody is staying at stage 2. And, Ravalli County does do some exemptions. Mineral County said that they have never had any request. So I don't know. I mean, most everybody's at stage 2.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, I like to hear from them.
Yeah. I think
And we'll go to. Do we decide to stay at stage 2 and then go with?
Wait, I just wanted you,
Huh?
I was just gonna ask you something when you got done. That's why I put my hand.
Oh, go ahead.
So, just say if I made the motion, then we can ask for the public comment, then it can be denied or whatever,
Okay.
right? And then, once we hear from them, then they can redo so we can move on the motion. Isn't that? How's that, not right?
Okay, so
Hey, Blanche, this is Jackie again. I did
Okay.
talk to our fire warden for Granite County, Sean O'Connor, last night. And he would like to see it stay at stage 2 with the dryness because of the fires that they've been on. It doesn't take long for them to torch. They have been up into like on Kyle Creek, they were on a fire, and he said in the timber it was fine, but as soon as you got out of that timber, it was tender dry, and that's where those fires are starting. So Sean wanted me just to pass that along.
thank you, Jackie. So the fire restrictions, discussion and decision. So staying at a stage 2, Blaine. And then if we stayed at a stage 2, then would we go into discussion with requesting of exemptions? How would that work?
Yeah, you could do it. I mean, you could do it all together, you could do it separately, but I guess
Okay.
it depends on who makes the motion and what that is.
Okay,
One thing I was gonna say too before you vote is, I did meet with Jason Robertson yesterday from Blackfoot. He said, I talked to him about that the state right of way would not be under the county's purview, so that would it's all private lands in the county that are not under federal state jurisdiction, so the county wouldn't have any, so they'd have to work that out with the state on the right of way. The also, the stage 2 restrictions don't apply to the town of Phillipsburg or the town of Drummond. They have to do their own restrictions. So that's something else for you to consider. But I don't know that that's an issue at all with Blackfoot right now.
okay, so what you're saying is that there's no issue with Blackfoot continuing on because they're in the state right away doing their work
Well-
and within the town limits?
Well, they're doing work on county roads as well. So stage 2 does affect that. I just reiterated to them that if the state gives them approval on the state right of way, then county can't say no to that.
Well, they're working off association roads, too. So
So-
they couldn't work there.
You're correct. It was well from the Hoot Owl restrictions.
Okay, make your motion.
I just, we're gonna make the motion to stay at stage 2.
Okay. I'll second. Any public comment?
Chairperson McClure, members of the commission, Paul Babb with Northwestern Energy. I did talk to each one of you on the phone, and sent you the exemptions and the resolution that Powell County had done. And so what we'd like to do, and I do have two members of Northwestern Energy that can speak today on what we're talking about from exemptions. Fire mitigation is top of mind for us, something that we take very seriously. Any work that we do, whether you're in fire restrictions or not, we're responsible. We do have our crews that are trained if there is a fire and they have the suppression to put that out. But it really does affect our work as far as new construction, maintenance, transmission work. We want to make sure that we're able to do our work so that we don't have an issue with any of our infrastructure causing a fire. So with that, I'd like to have Kyle Caldwell come up and just talk a little bit about the work we're doing. And then I've got Christy Arnson in our safety department. She can talk a little bit about from a safety standpoint. And so each of you do you need copies of what I sent to you, or do you have them?
I provide.
Yeah, and I sent that just as an example of what Powell County did. With that, I could have Kyle come on.
Yeah, so we have
Introduce yourself, please.
Kyle Caldwell, Northwestern Energy, operations planning supervisor. So we do have quite a few bigger jobs going on. We have the 3-phase going down 348. We're trying to make a loop to basically tie in and increase reliability in the area. That is kind of one of our larger projects we have going on. You know, we do have the wastewater treatment down here. The issue with, I guess, the hoot owl, it really dampens what we can do in a day. I mean, if we have to come in, as far as getting these jobs done efficiently, it makes it really tough. You know, they start pulling in wire, start pulling in rope, start having issues. We hit 1 o'clock, then we are pretty much dead in the water. So just kind of normal growth operations, trying to get people hooked up to power. I mean, that is kind of our concern. You know, we get families out there, and if we keep pushing them out further out, we get the more issues we start to have as we get into winter. So I think that was about all I had.
Thank you. Anyone else? State your name, please.
My name is Dan Coffey with Diversified Solutions, and we're doing the fiber for Blackfoot Communications. And I just wanted to see whether we're available to do the work, because we've got water trucks out on site. At the beginning of the season every year, we got all brand new fire extinguishers for our trucks and for our equipment. We have a guy that sits out after. We'll have no problem keeping a guy there after hours without any issue. And we're trying to concentrate all our crews in one general area, so that when we are done, we can have the guys, even if we wet it down and still wait. I just want to try to keep our production going forward, because we have to get our stuff done. And Blackfoot we've got contractors in here working for us that are out of state. And what they're running into is now their guys get paid by the foot. So they're not making any money, and they're going to have to end up leaving. And that's going to put us in a jam on getting new contractors as well. So I'm just trying to keep everybody busy. We're doing our safe practices. We've got, we communicate with everybody around us. I've got David Ray on my phone. So if I have any issues that are bigger than what we can handle with 12 fire extinguishers and a water truck, I can call him right away. I just want to see if we can continue to move forward with the project. Thank you.
Christy Arnson with Northwestern Energy Safety Professional. I just want to add for our fire mitigation that we do take it very serious, as Paul said, and we do have our crews when they go out. They are provided with a water trailer, water tax, and so like I said, we don't want to start any fires. That's really important. So we do take precautions, cut down high grass areas, water it down. Our focus is to prevent the fire in the first place. But if it does occur, we also have suppression. So just from the safety side of it, just wanted to speak to that a little bit.
Rowdy Anderson, Rocky Mountain Contractors. I'm pretty much in the same boat as Dan, doing the fiber for Blackfoot, running into my contract due date. All my plow crews have a 500 gallon firefighting tank with them. The bull rigs have 1,500 gallons of water. I mean, we have capability of putting out 8 fires and same thing.
Okay, so this is interesting right here, because I know how you feel about this. With letting one, why can't we let the other? I think, why can't we have an amendment where they can prove that they have their water trucks and their safety issues before we. If they can prove it, so if someone, for example, I'm just gonna. Do you see where I'm coming from? Because they're showing that they've got their water trucks, they're in contact with the fire chief. They've got their fire suppression on board, and if they can prove this, then why can't we give them an exemption? And if anybody. Be it a utility or be it. Someone that's trying to get their work done, if they have proof that they have all these safety issues. Please.
Well, say a logger was out there on private land, they still couldn't work and they still have fire equipment. I mean, just,
That's what I'm
but I
saying.
think we should give them the exemptions.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the commission could do that, so exemption with that. And then that's not exempting just Blackfoot and Northwest Energy, if anyone has that. Water tank, water truck there, then they could be exempted. I would
Well, what I'm
encourage.
saying, no, I don't think you can do that, cause if you had a logger out there on private land. Even though they had fire equipment, they'd still be down on Hoodow. Okay,
But if they're on, yeah, if they're on federal, yeah, if they're on federal land,
If
then
they're
they
on federal
wouldn't
land.
apply, yeah,
yeah, so,
yeah. I just think if you do an exemption, you should do it across the board with certain conditions.
Well, then you might as well go back to 1. If you're gonna do it that way, if that's why I made the motion to say it 2, I guess, 'cause then that's where.
So at 1, you have all your safety precautions and stuff too. But this, I have to listen to everyone because I can't give a good opinion, I'm not an authority, so I'm. Willing to listen to, go ahead.
Dan Kaufman, DSI again. I just wanted to let you know, we also are trying, we've been waiting for a couple of months now. And some of the areas that we're working, like off of Highway 1, we've got some of those ranches that we've got to do. We've been waiting for several weeks now to let it dry up. Because they ran all their irrigation and saturated. I've got guys literally on Andre Road right now that are digging in water just to get it past the culvert pipe. So the areas are pretty soaking wet on that side as well. And again, with our fire suppression available. Thank you.
Blaine.
So I think that's a good question for Northwestern Energy and the other groups. If it's stage 1, do they still have the fire trucks there? Or fire water tanks there? Okay.
Yeah, so Chairperson McClure, members of the council, regardless of what stage you're in, when it's in these conditions, we're gonna have our fire suppression. Because if a fire starts, we're responsible. So
Okay,
whatever, if there's no restrictions, if there are restrictions, we're gonna meet that standard.
So I'm looking dead now or what?
well, let's just go, keep it at stage 2 and give it these exemptions to both of them. And if somebody else wants to come in there, then we can take. On their basis, on their,
What would your condition be? Water?
at the
Water
all the
tank,
water,
yeah.
water trucks,
Yeah, all
all the fire equipment.
prove that they have their safety issues and they're taken care of in their
But-
water trucks.
But you'd want those specified in your resolution on what the specific conditions would be. Like,
Right, they have to have the water trucks
yeah,
and.
So
fire
that's,
extinguishers,
is that for utilities or across the board?
it would be
utilities.
Chuck's idea is for, since they've requested it, that others would have to come in.
Okay, this would have to come unrequested, on request. I'm sorry, Scott.
No, that's fine, no. I'm staying with my guns, and that's just the way I am.
Okay, so we'll amend that motion to stage 2 with exemptions.
For
Requested
utility,
with. Companies with fire equipment on the sites.
And you're making that
I'll make them.
Okay. I'll second it.
What, do you want to specify the size, like water tank they have to have? What is the standard?
Well, I'm gonna take their word for it, because I'm not gonna go out there and inspect all the park. I used to do that in my other job.
Well, if they're providing proof, it'd be potentially snapping a picture and sending it to the county. If you wanted proof of it.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, we're accepting them as their statements.
Okay.
Is that what we're doing? Okay, okay. So. Any public comment on the second motion?
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, done deal. Motion carried and passed. Stage 2 with exemptions, and Blaine will get that resolution
I'll drop.
and we'll get it signed today.
Okay, and just a question, once that resolution is in effect, then do we need to send something in, or is it, how do we comply?
That's what you require in pictures of your.
So do you just want us for every job we do, is that how you want it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Okay,
whatever you're gonna have out there.
all right, and do we just send it to Billy then?
Really?
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, that would work. That way you're showing due diligence and then we know that what you stated is hard copy.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, great, thank you. So it is, Brian. Our next agenda item is Granite County Medical Center CEO Brian Huso with hospital update. Good morning, Brian.
Brian Huso, CEO of Granite County Medical Center for the record. So, the home companion program is, our intent is to continue that, be a new fiscal year. And Rachel Johnson was in touch with Joe Gilboy, and he figured there's around 27,000 allocated for this year. So that'll be, we're making it work. We got about 10 clients right now and 2 caregivers that are meeting the need. And there's always requests out there for more. So we're doing what we can to meet the need of the requests. Hospital finished $1.3 million in the black end of June 30th. And it's so last year was good. It was a lot of work wrapping things up. And it's kind of hard to believe it. That year went by pretty quick, but we got a lot done. You've probably seen the new asphalt out there in the parking lot. One of the questions was, well, how come you spent money on that? Well, the comment was, it looked okay to me. It was just like, well, you didn't look very close. Because on the south side of that, we've had people fall. Because there was like a 6 to 8 inch drop off from the asphalt down to the street, and it was washing out, and we planned on doing it later this fall. But there was an outfit in town, Shadow Asphalt, and they gave us a really good deal. Got about 20,000 off the original bid that we got. And they said, we can be there tomorrow. So they got in, tore it up, and they tore it up on a Thursday and Friday, and Monday they were there pouring down the asphalt. So it looks really nice. We're planning some new concrete in the ER entrance. We did replace about half of that because the slope going up to the ER entrance was very steep, and got that regraded. That was all done with donated money. It was specifically for the ER entrance. We got 6 new ER doors. That they were the old wood doors that looked like they were built in 1953, which they were, but it looks really nice now. They're very functional. We have plans to replace the other half of the concrete, which is actually in worse shape. It's full of cracks, and when it rains, you get a small lake sitting there until the water evaporates and eventually runs off. We put in a new 100 kW generator because the old one the board went out. That was the fourth board in 5 years. And the company blamed it on the wiring harness when it was clearly not the wiring harness. And so we got that replaced, that released that. We've got a new full telemetry system in. I don't know if you're familiar with the telemetry, if you put a ER, they hook up the leads to your chest and comes up on the screen. We've got 8 units on monitors and 7 telepacks. And then ER1 has got a separate higher level monitor with 2 big screens on it. And we're looking at installing that same system in ER2. We leased that as well. Let's see. Getting, the other thing that I mentioned to Blaine, we're getting bids on piped in oxygen. Nothing says 1953 more than a green oxygen tank sitting on a 3-wheel cart in a ER room. And we had a very traumatic ER here about a month ago. And my office is right across from the ER, and in the middle of that, you could hear them struggling to change an oxygen tank out, and that was just like, we shouldn't have to do that. So the first quote we got was over 80,000, so we had to put it out for a competitive bid. And then once we started that, they've got an architect involved and it's got to go to the state. So we're working through that process. I think we'll be fortunate if we even get it done by the end of this year. Maybe win, but it's all internal. But 3 small rooms got to be made into 1 bigger room in the ER entrance right there for the med gas. It'll be a pressurized gas system. We looked at the liquid oxygen, but we don't use enough to justify that. The oxygen supplier said with our low volume, it would bleed off and evaporate faster than what we could use it. So we're going to stay with the high pressure cylinders for right now. It'll be 10 tanks hooked up to a manifold that'll automatically switch to, if this 5 are empty, it'll switch to the next 5. But then we'll still have to manually, remove the tanks and hook them up. So that's, for our low volume right now, that's the best system. We can add liquid down the road if it comes to that. So, so I told Blaine that you'll probably be getting some phone calls from the architect. Hey, who owns this and who's on the record and where's that and different things. So just so that it wasn't a surprise.
I need to send you the leases too.
Yeah. So that's kind of things on my list. Any questions or anything?
On the Area 5, do we just continue on or do we have to
Yeah, I'd do a new 1-year agreement or whatever you want.
Yeah.
I
But
think, didn't it say it automatically continue? They'd have to
Say
look.
what?
I wonder if the contractor said it'll automatically continue.
look at
or if it's-
that.
It expires.
Well, I thought we had to update it, cause being it's come through us to make sure it was even, and I thought we went year to year, so we kinda knew what was going on. But maybe
that's what I was saying too, but I could, could be.
Whatever it
wrong.
says.
But we're in
And-
agreement
Yeah,
with it
Yeah.
continuing with.
Yeah, there's
with you.
definitely a need out there.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
so you could do a motion on that and then a motion on the allowing the piped oxygen work.
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and keep continuing the Area 5 through the Granite Medical Center.
Is there any public comment? Go ahead, Elena.
Sorry, I couldn't find my mouse.
Thank you. I just have a question. Is there any digging involved?
Digging.
Not on the motion.
Any what involved?
Digging, but that's not on the motion. You asked it for a comment on the motion.
Oh,
Be a
public
different-
comments on the motion, whether or not we continue giving Area 5 to the hospital with benefits transferring through the county to the hospital funds.
Oh, because I heard Brian say, are there any questions? And that's what I have a question. Not the motion. I have a question to what his report was.
Okay, well, as soon as our motions are presented and passed, then we'll open it for public comment with Brian.
So now I can ask my question.
Okay, can we have another motion?
Are you call for the vote on that?
So we have to vote on this. All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carries and passed.
Okay, so I'll make a motion on the pipe oxygen, we're putting it out for there.
I'll second that.
Is there any public comment on that?
I have a comment.
Okay,
The hospital is a standalone, it's not a part of the county anymore. This was decided a long time ago, it used to be. They don't have to ask you for permission. They can give you advisement, they can give you an update of what they're doing. They already put the bids out for the pipeline.
No,
So my question is, does any of this involve digging? That's what I'd like to know.
no, it involves no digging. But even though the hospital district is its own governing board, the county owns the building. And the oxygen, it will be involved making some minor changes to the building construction, which the county's got to have approval of because it's their building.
Thank you, Brian, for clarifying that. And just for more clarification, the county owns the building, but it is in the town of Phillipsburg.
So
Okay.
what?
Thank you.
Yeah, the county has a lease with the Granite County Hospital District in which any improvements have to be approved by the. Now I'm gonna be say, why didn't you come to that about the asphalt? That wasn't it's where you're changing the structure.
That was
of
a
it.
safety
Yeah,
issue that
yeah.
had to be corrected.
The no issues with that, and under the lease, they're following the lease and asking for permission.
go ahead, Elena.
And the asphalt, we had two bids on having someone come in and fill the cracks and reseal it. And it was so far gone, they said you'd be wasting your money
Yeah.
even
But
doing
just-
that.
Regular maintenance, which is.
Yeah.
Regular
yeah,
maintenance.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the people that installed it have the sealing business, and I told them just put us on the schedule. Because the reason the asphalt got as bad as it did is because nobody maintained it.
Okay.
If you don't maintain asphalt, it'll deteriorate very quickly.
Elena, do you still have a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for the clarification because it wasn't clear. I agree. You own the building and they do have to ask if there's you guys, they have a lease on you on that building. That's all I wanted was clarification. And if there's any digging that has to be done, then that should be checked with the town because they have problems with underground pipes and everything else. So digging is a problem. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Ed Blaine,
As a side note, the lease expires June 30th, 2025, so that's something that'll have to be
Okay.
a
thank you, Blaine.
next year project.
And any digging, you have to get approval from all kinds of people.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they
Okay.
gotta
Yeah.
locate and do everything. It's not like he's gonna go out there and take a shovel and start digging the damn.
So anybody have any other questions about
No.
hospital and?
How you doing transfers?
We're still working through that process. We've got some things in the works that hopefully we'll know here by the end of this month, whether our options for that are gonna work out, so. I don't wanna divulge that
Yeah.
right now until I know for sure.
So looking at the agreement, it talked about 1-year agreement that we negotiate good faith, so it could be, yeah, updated on.
That's
on
it.
Future agenda, yeah.
I thought it was 1 year, just to make sure it was gonna work, otherwise we're gonna give it back.
All right, anything else?
Thanks.
All right, thank you all for your support and looking forward to another year.
Good luck.
All right, thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Brian. Hey,
How's it going?
okay, we've got a couple minutes before. I guess we can go right in. Luke, are you Luke?
Yep, I'm Luke.
Luke Wellborn,
Morning, Luke Wellborn.
discuss the development of Rumsey Road. Go ahead.
Do you have copies of what I
Yes.
sent to Billy? Great.
You read it.
Did you read it all?
Yeah,
I apologize
I did.
that it's long. What I have just to speak is an abridged version of that. It shouldn't take more than 10 to 15 minutes. Please stop me if there's any point of clarification that you need. My name is Luke Wellborn. I own property on Kroger Pond Road. My principal reason for appearing before you is to correct the public record, specifically by responding to statements made during the July 23rd Granite County Commission meeting. Promise to be succinct. On July 23rd, 2024, Kurt Fagrelius appeared before you pleading for assistance regarding quote development on Rumsey Road. I appreciate the consideration and compassion displayed by the Granite County representatives towards Mr. Fagrelius. Unfortunately, Mr. Fagrelius mischaracterized our family as litigious land developers from out of state. My family does feel great remorse knowing that he and his family are suffering. Our failure is simply in finding a way to communicate with him that we are in fact on the same page regarding the preservation of the character of the neighborhood and the community. During Mr. Fagrelius's agenda item, he labeled our family as a problem neighbor and made many other statements which were at best factually inaccurate and at worst slanderous towards myself and my family. I would like to present you all with an accurate timeline of events, clarifying inaccuracies from the July 23rd meeting, providing background into the issue at hand, and I would then like to clarify the record by specifically responding to statements made by Mr. Fagrelius. I then have two small requests from the commission. Factual timeline. My father purchased Tract 6 Certificate Survey 81 through a local real estate agent and acquired title insurance in February of 2021. Both the local real estate agent and his title insurance company indicated that there were no zoning restrictions, no covenants, and no otherwise limiting factors restricting his future use of his property. In March of 21, I began the 6-month process of rehabbing the cabin with help from many members of the community. The cabin is now a beautiful space which my family enjoys to this day. In October of 21, my father decides to divide the property so as to give parcels of land to his children. My father gifts me 2.94 acres as compensation for my work remodeling his cabin. My father gifts my sister, Samantha Wellborn, 12 acres because she's his favorite child. Both times the land was divided by a survey company who acquired title insurance on the division of land. Both title insurance policies did not indicate that there were any covenants, deed restrictions, or zoning restrictions preventing the division of the land. These land divisions were done in accordance with Montana law and were approved by the DEQ after review of test pits and successful percolation tests. In July of 23, my father, out of necessity to finance protection from land development, property which he owns in Colorado, reluctantly decided to consider the sale of his cabin on his remaining land. In October of 23, my father enters into a contract to sell his property. The terms of the sale were principally agreeable because the buyer wished to lease the property back to our family so that we could continue to enjoy Granite County. The buyer acquires title insurance for his purchase, but his policy identifies a purported deed restriction, thus triggering a long investigation into the history of Certificate of Survey 81. I'm going to hit the high points on this. I obviously have a very detailed timeline of Certificate of Survey 81. In April of 1978, Bill Baer purchases approximately 240 acres from Adele Furby. In December of 78, Bill Baer records Certificate of Survey 81 showing the 240 acres divided into 12 tracts. Bill Baer states on COS 81 that it was exempt from subdivision review. Bill Baer sells all 12 tracts over the next 16 years. The first sale in March of 1980, Bill Baer conveyed Tracts 6, 7, and 8 to Paul Mastarka and included on the deed the curious sentence, "This conveyance is limited and restricted by the fact that the buyer cannot divide any of these parcels into areas smaller than 9 acres. Bill Baer likely believed that the buyer dividing the tracts in areas smaller than 9 acres would invalidate his claim that Certificate of Survey 81 was exempt from subdivision review. Bill Baer therefore withheld the right to divide the property into areas smaller than 9 acres unto himself. In the same way, that a seller would sell property but withhold mineral rights onto themselves. This is a negative easement held in gross, similar to private property. This is not a covenant. Bill Baer did not include this sentence on Certificate of Survey 81, and this sentence does not appear on any other deed from the time Bill Baer purchased the land up into present day ownership. I have reviewed every single deed in the area. December of 2013, Bill Baer passed away, thereby transferring the right to divide or not divide the property into areas smaller than 9 acres, a negative easement held in gross, not a covenant, through his estates to his heirs Douglas and Doyle Baer. In November of 23, my father, having an issue with the marketability of his title, approached his title insurer. They responded by indicating that they would provide coverage to rectify the issue. They hired an attorney out of Missoula to review the case, Charles Hansberry. Mr. Hansberry concluded that the only parties with a right to enforce the deed restriction were the heirs to the Baer estate, Douglas and Doyle Baer. I contacted both Douglas and Doyle Baer. Neither could opine as to why the father included this sentence on the 1980 Mustarka deed. Both indicated that they had no desire to enforce the deed restriction. Both Douglas and Doyle Baer executed for consents for judgment in favor of my father, relinquishing their right to ever enforce this deed restriction. Effectively, the efficacy of the deed restriction is null and void at this point. Mr. Hansberry advises my father that the next course of action is to file a quiet title action. A quiet title action is a legal proceeding whereby a plaintiff asks a judge to clarify an issue with the plaintiff's title. It is technically a lawsuit, but it is not a lawsuit in the conventional sense of the term. Under Montana law, my father was required to name as defendants all persons, known or unknown, who could object to clarifying the issue with his title. The named defendants in the legal proceeding therefore include all current owners of land on COS 81 and both Douglas and Doyle Baer. Please note, Exhibit H, the first 2 named defendants in the case are myself and my sister, as previously stated, my father's favorite child. Inasmuch as my father is suing Mr. Pagrelius, he is also suing his only 2 children. In March of 24, our family discussing how to approach the fact that our neighbors will technically be named as defendants in the lawsuit, I reached out on a personal level to contact each neighbor, explaining that we are not asking for anything other than consent, or at the very least silence, on my father's request to have the rights to his property, which he was led to believe he had when he made his purchase. I received overwhelmingly positive feedback from all neighbors with the exception of Mr. Pagrelius. I simply did not receive a response from Mr. Pagrelius. June of 2024, with either written or verbal consent to judgment in favor of my father's request, our family was forced to have Mr. Pagrelius served as per Montana law. The service of Mr. Pagrelius on June 27th was regrettable. We simply wish to engage in conversation explaining that we are not out-of-state land developers, and in fact, it is our desire to keep the property lines exactly as they are right now. From the July 23rd meeting, points made by Mr. Pagrelius, he states that he is under pressure from outside developers and that this developer is from Denver. My father's a graduate of Montana State, a rancher, a veterinarian, licensed in Montana with over 30 years of practice in Montana, Wyoming, and Colorado. Our family has been in Montana for 6 generations. There is not a real estate land developer in our immediate or extended family. Mr. Pagrelius indicates that we were calling him throughout the winter, leaving messages. My family made 2 friendly phone calls to Kurt and then sent a very polite letter, Exhibit I. We simply did not receive a response. At that point, we stopped and were forced to have him legally served. Mr. Pagrelius states, I have no objection to what's been done. What's been done is done. The fact of the matter is our family, regardless of Mr. Pagrelius' wishes and regardless of the deed restriction, wishes to keep the property lines exactly as they are. We have offered to Kurt to put that in writing at our expense, a further deed restriction, ensuring that he can live peacefully and be left alone on his property. Mr. Pagrelius stated that if you don't sign their waiver, you're responsible for their attorney's fees. I'm $10,000 into this. Not only have we never requested that Mr. Pagrelius cover any of our attorney's fees, but we have offered to request our title company cover his attorney fees. Mr. Pagrelli states this developer from Denver, and then goes on to say the other one, the owner of Tract 5, is from Scottsdale. The owner of Tract 5 is Brandon Tracy, a very nice gentleman, our neighbor, and a native of Phillipsburg, Montana. Mr. Pagrelli states that these were covenants put on my property when I bought it. The seller knew that, the title company knew that, I knew that. Mr. Pagrelli has attempted to present certificate of survey 81. If you notice exhibit J, on certificate of survey 81 is a copy of the deed restriction. The sentence leading into the deed restriction, which Mr. Pagrelli has pasted on the certificate of 81, is exactly taken from the quiet title action written by our attorney, Mr. Hansberry. That document was doctored. Mr. Pagrelli states that the seller knew it. The seller, Joseph and Barbara Eder, Tract 8, did not know of the covenant and have both signed a consent for judgment removing the purported deed restriction from all lots 6, 7, and 8. They don't want it on their property either. There were no covenants put on Mr. Pagrelli's property when he bought it. The most egregious statement made by Mr. Pagrelli during the July 23rd meeting at 1 hour, 41 minutes and 9 seconds in the context of an ongoing feud, according to him, between our families. Mr. Pagrelli states, during this process, we had a dog come home suspiciously and died 6 hours later. There is a clear implication that there is a connection between the death of Mr. Pagrelli's dog and our family. The notion that our family brought harm to an animal, let alone a dog, is abhorrent, slanderous, and defamatory, especially due to the fact that my father is a licensed Montana veterinarian. As I said at the beginning, I have 2 requests for the commission. The first is simply to set the record straight. I believe that by providing me the opportunity to present this statement and the attached exhibits, this request has been granted. Thank you. My second request of the commission is conditional. Please note the asterisk. To provide assistance on this matter. I do not believe it is the role of the Granite County Commission to intervene in civil conflicts between neighbors. I apologize that this issue has been brought to your attention. At 1 hour, 30 minutes and 50 seconds of the July 23rd meeting, County Attorney Mr. Bradshaw states an offer to help Mr. Pagrelli review his title insurance policy. If Mr. Bradshaw or any representative from the Granite County Commission provide assistance to Mr. Pagrelli, please also reiterate concessions which my family is offering in attempts to settle this issue and put it to rest. My father is only asking for the rights to his property, which he was led to believe he had when he made his purchase, and we have no interest in further dividing the property.
Okay, I have one question. When Bill bought the property and he did the survey, was it illegal to be the developer and be the surveyor? Was that in a record back then in 1978 that you couldn't survey your own property and be the developer?
I'd have to dig into that a little bit on their rules of
Yeah. I mean,
ethics.
which,
Surveyors all the time develop their own properties, like Ken Jenkins.
yeah,
Has a piece that he did family transfer on.
okay, I mean, that kind of went, whoa.
Yeah, no, I mean, just like lawyers do their own law work, it's sort of like plumbers do their
Yeah.
own plumbing,
I mean, I just,
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just trying to fix the roads in or all that, you lost me. I just kept going on and on.
well, what he's doing
Stop
is, and I read it before and I understand your feelings and yeah, I would have defended myself too. Linda, what's your comment?
So essentially, we're back at the same comment that we had last time, which is. This was done as a family transfer, you don't review it at the time, the covenant we are not party to. And it is a civil matter, it's, they're gonna have to settle it in court.
Understood,
Yeah.
understood. Not asking the commission to
Yeah.
intervene.
Why'd you bring it
My father is a veterinarian licensed in the state of
then? I
Montana.
know, you said that like 4 times, I've heard that, but I know, why'd you bring it to us if we didn't?
Somebody made a public comment on record that there is potentially an indication that someone in our family caused the death of a dog.
Well,
That's defamatory.
yeah, he did. I mean, if you were listening to him, he's defending himself, and I understand and
But that's-
understand completely. And Blaine, I don't think it was his intention to, okay, Granite County's gonna help you legally by looking over just to see if.
I offered some limited help of looking over that title policy to see if his attorney would represent. Do you have an issue with that?
No, absolutely
Okay.
not. I
Okay.
just would ask, our attempt has been to be friendly with Mr.
Yeah.
Sabrelius. If anybody can communicate with him, which we have failed to do, that they convey to him that we actually don't want to divide the land. During the July 23rd meeting, there was a discussion about, well, how far can this go? How many times can they divide the land? We are willing to put into writing. We do not want to divide the land any further. That's exactly what Mr. Sabrelius is asking for. We're actually on the same page. It is just a failure
Yeah.
to communicate. Any assistance for Mr. Sabrelius should come with the notion that our family is actually on the same page.
Go ahead, Blaine.
And I've encouraged him to look for middle ground to settle it, and so maybe the attorney's fees is the issue there, but hopefully they can find middle
And
ground.
Linda is our spokesperson by maintaining, we have nothing to say about
You
this.
have nothing to say about it. It's a
Yeah,
civil
we
matter.
can't say anything about this.
It's not-
Like I said, civil matter, Blaine said.
Right.
So, yeah, but no, I understand where you felt that, hey. I want to state my piece too, and very well put. Thank you.
Thank you.
And going forward, it's not a commissioner. Problem, we can't really. Jump in or get in the middle of it. That is like Blaine said, a civil, am I correct, Blaine?
That's been the commission's historic way of doing things, is staying out of private contracts and private covenants. So
So-
I'm not encouraging you to change that.
One question to Linda, if they did decide that they were gonna split it off, they'd go through subdivision regulations, correct?
Or, I mean, they would have to use an exemption or go through subdivision.
So, I mean.
Yeah. I understand. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, thank you. Okay, so. At 10:35, right on time, our next agenda item is settlement with a spoofing discussion and decision.
I'll make a motion that we'll go ahead with the amendment to settle agreement for $6,000 with ACE.
Did we do this last week?
Well, this is just getting in writing, but this is then, I keep saying that final deal, but then we keep, you can always be amended if they're agreeable to it, but there's no other damages that we can go after. This is the final, and that's what their problem they caused was the drains, and so to be cashed out of it, and you can use that towards your next project on the roof.
Yes, sir.
Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried and passed.
Thanks.
I'm good to go. There's nothing else for me, right?
Okay,
Is there? That was more of a question.
I don't think so.
No.
Thanks, Linda.
Yeah.
Thanks, Linda.
We could be working on the budget pretty quick.
Yeah. I was gonna bring that up. That we need to probably put time in to work on budgets.
Did everybody get theirs on you?
They've got that was the certified values that went. Last year's was 1345 and this year's is 1382, so it went up a little bit. Not much, but a little bit, but that would just put our mill levies or the amount of mills we have down because it balances.
Do you want a budget work session next week and then your budget hearings on those dates
So
that are
we-
lined
yeah.
out?
We need,
Well, I think she put it in the paper already
For
for
the
those
session.
dates
oh,
already,
should we
yeah.
dates?
Well,
That's what we talked about last week.
well, she had to get in the paper, yeah.
Yeah.
So, hopefully that works. It
Yeah,
was the same as
well-
last year.
Remember, we got arguing over the paper thing.
What's the date, 6th?
Do you want a work session prior to the
Yeah.
hearings? So I'll
Yeah.
do that next
Yeah, we
week.
need a work session and then follow what the.
Paper
Where's that
says.
statement? Does she have it? Do we have it?
She
printed?
emailed it, so I'll build.
We have
off
to
of it.
follow that for the hearing.
Perfect.
It's a couple after,
Yeah,
2
Two
afternoons.
afternoons,
2
I
afternoons.
think, the last two
We
in
need to
August.
start looking at it anyway, start getting kind of heads up
Yeah.
on stuff.
yeah. Okay. Settlement with Ace Roofing is settled.
Yay.
Let's see, it's the 6th day.
10 minutes for our next agenda item. We're gonna take a slight recess.
I'll go work on that resolution then. Amended fire restriction.
Okay, our next agenda item is appointment of Mike Lee to the Phillipsburg Fire Service Area Board.
I'll make a motion to go ahead with my team.
Nice second.
Any public comment? Things not all in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried and passed. Now we just wait for our call from Perk. Yes. Why did he? Because I'm defending, he said the commission, I didn't say I said this. He wants money. Whoops. Oh, dear. Get up and scratch. Yeah. I'm gonna have one of your lemon drops.
Do it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I know what I'll do. I'll do a little more studying on it,
Do what?
a little more studying on it, I can screw the Legion. I can get a bill passed in the legislature that they can't do that, they can't have the say.
I don't know if they do.
Hmm?
I'm thinking. It's the commission. It's the county. What they say is we have to have a group, a
Yeah.
percentage of a group. I think.
So, well, you could just make a law saying you can't do that. If somebody has their own insurance, especially with the insurance, with this, total coverage, Obamacare, basically. You have to have insurance. And if somebody else has their insurance, and
We need to have a group hug.
No.
it's not right.
That's like I took out. They said I could take out as much insurance. So I just. Have like $80,000 in insurance, life insurance.
But you did the same thing that I was.
Yeah. The Aflac. The Aflac is a cancer policy. And something else. Which. Like turn 75 and you can't have your cancer policy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was able to put. Some kind of stupid stuff with Aflac. For my granddaughter. But yeah, I don't. Nowhere near the benefit, but. I'm just saying that policy is. And you have to have a percentage. Of your. Eligible employees to make it a group. So if you had. Say, for example. 30% of your employees that have their own insurance. And want to keep their own insurance, you wouldn't have a group.
But who set that rule?
I think probably the insurance company.
That's what my point is.
Yeah, the insurance company.
My
For a group,
point is, if that was made so they couldn't do that.
yeah, well, yeah. $11 o'clock, Is he supposed to call in?
They're gonna jump on. It should, I heard from Kareem already this morning, so he should be jumping on.
Oh, it's only,
Yeah, I need to fix the
58.
clock. On my list.
So if we did a blue stripe on the dam, we'd have to put that out for bids for somebody with a boat.
No, we had Brandon paint it, or did Great West come out and do it? Somebody did it.
The contractor did it when they did the dam, facing the dam.
Guys,
Oh.
Ocean, whatever, but, or not, but,
So there's the, along the base there too, there's all that grass and everything. That, needs to be removed, and we really just probably. I would think maybe need like a maintenance crew to go up there of some sort.
well, that one tree that's coming out, he was nitpicking about that. It's a big tree.
Where was the tree?
The root systems.
on your top.
Oh, that big one on the, down at the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did note that. I don't remember what he wanted done with that,
On top of the dam or?
but I
And what-
know,
I think Jeremiah was saying, maybe Jeremiah. Who was Jeremiah there?
no, Jonathan was.
Yeah, same.
I'd have to cut that one off and it has too much grit since.
Here we go. Here they both are.
It seems like they just. took them.
All right, so I made Kareem the co-host so he can jump in whenever. And same with Jeremiah.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
No.
Good morning.
Morning. All right. Is it okay for me to start, or I have to wait?
Okay,
for
go
somebody else,
ahead
or-
and just announce you.
Okay.
Or I'll just say our next agenda item is the quarterly per call. And then you can go ahead and announce yourself. And there we go.
All
We're
right.
ready.
Well, good morning. Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. This is Kareem Bino from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, the Portland Regional Office. So I'm the project engineer assigned to the Flint Creek project. And so I wanted to have these quarterly calls just to kind of go over any open items that there may be, to discuss any questions or try to address any questions that the Granite County Commissioners might have in regards to anything that's going on here at the commission in regards to the Flint Creek project. So, you know, this is a great opportunity for us to kind of just have a general kind of open conversation, kind of review some things that have come up recently. And again, just to keep a open dialogue with the commission as much as possible about things that might be going on. And before they get into letter writing and back and forth, where, you know, we do have to do that officially, but sometimes there are some things that can be addressed relatively quickly or relatively simply through a simple conversation. So hopefully these are beneficial for the Granite County Commissioners, and also they're beneficial for me too, because I get to see you guys a little bit more frequently than once a year. So this is a good chance to kind of, again, keep that conversation going. So with that, I don't have a lot to talk about today. There are some items. I think I have 3 specific items I wanted just to quickly touch on. The first, if it's okay to proceed, Commissioner Blanche, let me know. Yep, okay. So the first thing I wanted to generally talk about is the dam safety inspection that happened on June 10th. So I was out there myself, a couple of commissioners are out there, a couple others are out there also. Great West had some representatives there. So that was a very good, again, a good opportunity to get out and see the project, as we do on the annual basis, because the Flint Creek project is classified, Georgetown Dam is classified as a high hazard project. So again, getting out there, see the project on a yearly basis is something that we are responsible for doing. It's a good inspection. There were some follow-up items from that inspection. That was in a letter issued on the 24th of June. So I'm not going to go over all the items in that letter, but there are some minor items, some a little more than minor items that the commissioners should be aware of. If you have any questions about so anything that's in that follow-up letter, before you submit a response to us, we did ask for a response within 60 days. This is standard for us for any follow-up items on issuances. If there's any questions about that, I'm happy to try to answer those before you submit an official response, or try my best to give you some clarification if you weren't sure about what I was talking about or what we were discussing in that letter as a follow-up. Please let me know. Happy to try to clarify if needed. One of the big things that in the inspection, or things that stood out to me specifically, was the outlet structure. Not going to get into details about it here on this particular phone call, but in the letter, in the follow-up letter, I do discuss some items that I had observed during my visual inspection and that I would like to get some follow-up on. Say me, meaning the commission, would like to get some follow-up on those items within the outlet structure. So we had a call with Jeremiah and somebody else in Great West, name slips my mind moment. Billy M was on that call last week. We talked in greater detail about it. There are some items that we would like some follow-up on. So just FYI about that. And again, we can always have a separate conversation about that, a little more in-depth conversation specifically about the outlet structure and the concerns or observations that were made during my dam safety inspection of this year. Any questions about that before I move on? Comments?
Did you want to put Jeremiah where he can, is it Jonathan who's on?
It is Jeremiah. Jeremiah can mute and unmute as well, so.
Okay.
Yep, no, I'm here. I don't have any questions.
Okay.
It was Justin Everts with Great West that was on the call. Justin did the outlet rehabilitation feasibility study. So.
Yep. And that was a good conversation last week. Get a sense of schedule and moving forward, what might happen. So I appreciate that. Again, not going to get into detail about that on this particular call. Other items in the follow-up letter were pretty standard items. Just maintain your vegetation, something we talked about consistently. Don't let trees get established in certain areas on the project. It's extremely important. And just you want to keep that vegetation down as much as possible. I think the dam tender is doing a pretty good job in terms of getting up to speed. I think that's a credit to your CDSC. It's credit to the commissioners also for making an effort to have him get up to speed pretty quickly on a project. To know what to do, what needs and know the procedures to follow. So I think that's extremely important. So I'm glad to see that. And just kind of keep encouraging you to do that. Just keep encouraging to do some training and keep them informed and have them out there. Take good notes. Take good when they're out there doing their visual inspections or routine inspections. Just take good notes and keep track of what's going on in the project. It's really important. So something to keep in mind. And the only other last one that I had to talk about specifically today was there was a letter issued in regards to the surveillance monitoring report. That letter went out. Bear with me for a moment. May 20th, 2024. We did ask for a response within 60 days on that one, so that time frame has come and gone. So again, I'm not going to get into details about that specific letter, but it's a May 20th, 2024 issuance from the commission to Granite County. It's in regards to your surveillance and monitoring report for 2023. In terms of review that was completed, we had some questions in there, some items we'd like to get some follow up on. So I encourage you to take a look at that. Let me know. Just kind of give me an update when you get a chance. Let me know where you are with the response on that, so if we can be expecting it sometime soon. If not, we're going to ask you to please submit an extension of time request. So today is just to August 6th. We're about 20 days past due on that one, give or take 15, 20 days, something like that. So by the end of next week, just let me know if you need an extension of time. If you're gonna submit one, just have somebody please shoot me a note. Let me know that, so that way I can update our records internally, because just as a kind of how the things work in the background here is we do track all issuances from our office in terms of schedule when we're expecting to get things back, and we are required to provide updates every 30 days on where things are. So if something comes back, goes out, we're out a couple of days on a submission. It's not that big a deal traditionally. However, when you start getting to like 15 to 30 days out, or past 15 days, we start getting notifications that we need to follow up on those items. So just let us know if you need an extension of time for response. That option's always out there. Ideally, we would not like that if you could answer it. But sometimes we understand with extenuating circumstances that you need extension of time is needed. So again, just as a follow-up, so that's a May 20th, 2024 issuance from us, meaning commission regarding the SMR. So if you can just follow up on that and let me know where that is, I would appreciate it. That's it. That's all I had in general. I don't really have anything else to update the commission on at the moment from my end, but if there's any questions commissioners may have, Jeremiah, you may have, I'm happy to spend a few minutes trying to answer those as best I can.
Questions? Do you have questions?
The one question I was wondering about, you were talking about we could use a pressure washer to get rid of that stuff. Now you've changed your mind?
Nope, I haven't changed my mind. That's a great question. I think that's Mr. Adler, is that correct? You asked a question. So what we're saying about cleaning, so if you want to clean off some of that organic growth, whatever that might be, algae or moss or mold, I don't know, it's not mold, but algae or moss or whatever, that green stuff growing in some of the areas, you can pressure wash. That's perfectly fine. But what we're asking is just be careful when you're doing it. Like, don't use a high-powered gas pressure washer, get down there, start blasting things away, because what can happen is sometimes it can start eroding the concrete too. So if somebody's not really careful in terms of the tip angle and the pressure they're using, if they get too close, like you get really too close, get too close to some concrete, you start you start deteriorating it pretty quickly. So the idea is to be as cautious as possible. Don't be super aggressive. I'm not saying get down there with a toothbrush and do it. You don't need to do that, but you can get down there with a pressure washer. Just be a little cautious when don't just go full out with the pressure washer, because some of them are really powerful and they can cause a lot more bad than good. So just be careful. That's all. So yes, the pressure washers can be used. Just be cautious when you're doing it. Don't get super aggressive. That's all.
Kareem, are you stating that if we want to, or is FERC requesting us to do this to remove that algae?
So if we go back to, I'm glad you asked me that question. If we go back to the letter, and so in the follow-up letter, we said provide us with so it said vegetation should be managed to discourage establishment of woody vegetation. So we talked about that. But then the outlet structure, let's see. So okay, organic material was observed to be growing at the tile drain outlets. So this is item number 5 from our June 24th letter. A periodic non-damaging cleaning schedule should be established to maintain unobstructed tile drain outlets to minimize organic growth from obscuring visual inspections of any flows exiting the drains. So we're periodic non-damaging cleaning. So the method you decide to use to clean is completely up to you. We're not prescribing a specific way of doing it. We're not saying that you can't do it a certain way. We're not saying you have to do it a certain way, but what we are saying is just be careful whatever methodology you decide to utilize. Because again, if you decide to use a high pressure washer and the person operating it is not paying attention or is getting a little too aggressive, it could cause more damage than good.
Okay,
Does that
thank
answer your question, Ms. Blanche?
Did that answer your question? Answered mine.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so the methodology you decide to use is completely up to you. Whatever is within rules of your license. I know some licenses are very restrictive on what you can do. I don't think yours is like that, but the idea is just to clean and a non-aggressive, the least damaging possible way, possible. Now you can talk to your CDSC about that. You know, Jeremiah, you may have some thoughts in terms of what they can do or what they can't do. I suggest you guys have a conversation about that before you proceed with anything specific. Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions or comments, or a lot's going on? So I know we talked a little bit our last quarterly conversation. We kind of touched on the upcoming part 12 for the project. I'd say upcoming, it's like a couple years out. Threw a lot of information out there. We talked about that while I was on site. I believe this project, Granite Flint Creek project, is going to be a CA coming up. So what that means, comprehensive assessment. We have all that stuff in our Chapter 16 guidelines. I bring it up again because just to help everybody, not just you, the Granite County Commissioners, but other licensees who I work with, or who I'm assigned, projects I'm assigned to, just kind of reminders, like these processes can be quite extensive. And so the earlier you plan for these Part 12 inspections, the better off it will be in the long run. So again, just as a reminder that is upcoming. I think a reminder letter for this project is going to be issued sometime next year as a reminder that your Part 12 is coming up. You need to start the process. But I'm starting to talk to people early about it because, again, starting to talk to licensees about it early because there's a lot involved. And so we want to make sure we don't surprise anybody when the letter comes out. You're like, oh, I didn't know about that. It's like, well, this is why we're telling you a little bit further in advance. Okay, unofficially that is coming up. But yeah, it's coming, and so definitely ask questions ahead of time. If you're not sure about what that process involves, we're happy to try to do our best to guide you put you in the right direction, and hopefully set you up for success.
Thank you, Kareem. I'm going to open this up for any public comment before you leave. Is there any public comment for Kareem? I don't see any, so Kareem, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you all. Also, I really appreciate working with everybody. Seeing everybody again out there in June. That was fantastic. Got some work to do with these follow-up items and the SMR follow-up stuff, but I think we're getting in the right direction, which is great. So again, any questions, please reach out to the commissioner, the commission, to us, the commission, regional engineer, or myself. We'll do our best to answer questions prior to issuance of letters. If there's a question about that coming up, commission request or something like that, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'll do the best we can to give you good direction going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, everybody. Thank you. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you guys soon. I hope. We'll see.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So the response for May 20th.
I will touch base with Jeremiah to see where we're at with a response from that letter, and I'll get
So it should
something
have
out
been in
20 days ago.
Yeah, so we can get on that.
I'll follow up.
So
with
is
him
that
today.
Jeremiah, but
He usually prepares our responses to if one's required, and they come up with like a plan.
okay,
So I'll touch base with him and see.
And the guy would try to see if we could hire the down tender a few extra hours. Do a few of them things and even try and take the road crew and that.
I know we go, no.
Saying, no, they need that now that everybody.
Okay, all right, that was the last item on our agenda. And we are now adjourn at 11:20.
I was out at the